Lawmakers discuss plans to build a prison in Franklin County, the latest on a bill that would set aside hundreds of millions of dollars for the project. And the Razorbacks made it past the Kansas Jayhawks, now setting their sights on a second-round matchup with another legendary coach.
Covering news where you live, this is 5 News at Noon.
Well, thank you for joining us for your 5 News at Noon. I'm Morgan Wrigley here with Joshua Weisel. Sounds like we're going to have not too bad of a weekend, right? Maybe a little cooler.
Yeah, so we're starting off, we had kind of a roller coaster in these temperatures, and we have these annoying winds that are just coming back over and over again. Even some rain chances potentially over the weekend as well. So quite a lot to talk about. Mother Nature's basically thrown everything at us. We had sleet the other day, dust, wind, you name it. The wind has come back. Fortunately, it's not too bad yet, but some gusts could be up to 40 miles an hour at times. So we're going to take a look at that. As you can see, some clouds are over the area, but we are definitely going to be seeing that clear out once those winds kick up into that higher range. So right now, currently sitting right around the 50s, 60s across the area. So it's mild right now, but the temperatures will continue to go up throughout the afternoon. We're nowhere near peak heating. Now the wind's starting to kick up as well. You can hear it outside of our door here in the studio. I'm sure you hear it at home, especially in northwest Arkansas. Some of those gusts are kicking up to the 25-mile-per-hour range already. Some gusts could be up to 40 over the next couple of hours. So that's a look at what we've got there. Future wind gusts by this evening, it'll start to calm down once again. As you can see, now no longer in that 40-mile-per-hour range. Overnight tonight, fortunately, they will be at the calm levels once again. And then by tomorrow morning, not as gusty as it was right now. The high winds are leading to a fire weather danger. We have a red flag warning in effect. We'll get more into that here coming up in just a little bit.
Thanks, Joshua. Well, the Razorbacks are moving on in the NCAA tournament. 10-seed Arkansas upset 7-seed Kansas to advance to the round of 32. And what a game it was. The highest combined score in a first half of the tournament so far. The final score was 79-72. And we know the Hogs will play their next game tomorrow against St. John's. That'll be right here on Channel 5. Approximate tip time is 1:40 Central. Well, at the Arkansas Capitol, lawmakers have voted to set aside the money to build a new prison in Franklin County. A joint budget committee approved an appropriation of $750 million. According to its sponsor, State Senator Jonathan Dismang, SB 354 is a first step in advancing the construction of the 3,000-bed facility. But the plan is facing strong opposition from would-be neighbors. And some lawmakers say the amount of money will not be enough to build the prison.
The way this project has been done to date, that we will spend mega millions and we'll find out we need more money.
I struggle to think, what if we don't build this prison? What is the cost to society? What are the costs to the people? How do we answer to the people at home when there's no misdemeanor justice?
An attempt to allocate money for the project failed 2 weeks ago. Consultants hired by the Department of Corrections and the Sanders administration followed with a new cost estimate of $825 million. $75 million has already been approved. As the budget moved forward, another group is coming forward, calling for caution, saying the Franklin County Prison will be built on sacred burial sites. Chiefs Jimmy Kirsch and Justin Flanagan of the Chickamauga Nation tell 5 News they were originally granted land by Thomas Jefferson in the 1800s. Over the last 10 months, they've searched throughout the state for the burial sites of their ancestors with the help of an anthropologist. That's how they say they learned the Franklin County Prison is set to be built on one of their sacred burial sites.
We just hope that the governor will communicate with us about this particular site. These type of things need to be handled differently moving forward.
The Chickamauga Nation says that they hope the state will avoid areas where their ancestors are buried while building the prison. We reached out to the Arkansas Department of Corrections, who sent us a statement. It says in part the department has been mindful of concerns of a possible Native American gravesite, but no evidence of a burial site has been found to date. Meanwhile, Governor Sanders has signed dozens of bills into law as a mid-session break arrives. House Bill 1610 will amend 2 Arkansas acts and clear up the rules for when a mother is in danger and an abortion is warranted. House Bill 1609 will increase the penalty for anyone who recruits a child into sex trafficking from places where they are at risk. And Senate Bill 304 focused on voting. It will allow your vote to count if you move to a new county, as long as you get updated registration to your new clerk before the polls close on Election Day. President Trump is meeting with Defense Secretary Hegseth in the Oval Office today. It comes as the White House denied a report by the New York Times that advisor Elon Musk was going to be briefed on top secret war plans. Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington.
President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced plans Friday to build next-generation fighter jet.
In terms of all of the attributes of a fighter jet, there's never been anything even close to it, from speed to maneuverability to what it can have to payload.
It comes shortly after advisor Elon Musk visited the Pentagon for what Secretary Hegseth called an informal meeting about efficiency and innovation.
President Trump, along with Musk and Secretary Hegseth, all deny a report by the New York Times that the Pentagon set up a briefing for Musk on plans for potential war with China.
In a social media post this morning, President Trump called the report false and said Musk is not being briefed on anything China. In the latest court ruling against the administration, a federal judge has blocked DOJ's access to Social Security systems containing Americans' personal information, calling it essentially a fishing expedition. Meanwhile, teachers' unions are vowing to fight the president's new executive order to dismantle the Department of Education.
The Department of Education was established in 1980. We've spent almost $3 trillion since that time trying different programs through both administrations, and it hasn't worked.
The president says student loans, Pell Grants, and funding for children with special needs or from low-income families will be fully preserved but redistributed to other agencies and departments. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Since President Trump took office, the Department of Education's workforce has been cut by nearly half. And an update on the investigation of the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge that was nearly a year ago in Baltimore Harbor. Last March, a cargo ship crashing into the bridge led to the death of 6 road workers and more than $100 million spent to reopen the port of Baltimore. In a press conference Thursday, the NTSB chairman says they are encouraging the owners of dozens of bridges across 19 states to perform a vulnerability assessment of their risks after learning Maryland was not prepared.
Had they ran the calculation on the Francis Scott Key Bridge, the MDTA would have been aware that the bridge was almost 30 times greater than the risk threshold AASHTO sets for critical essential bridges.
Earlier this year, Maryland leaders unveiled a new design for the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Experts are warning about online job postings or even opportunities sent right to your email or phone that could be a scam. Megan Bragg with Verify Team breaks down what you need to know.
Just last month, Americans received 19.2 billion scam texts, according to RoboKiller, a spy blocking company. So what should you look out for? Let's verify. Our sources, the Federal Trade Commission and the FBI. According to the FTC, there's an uptick in these job scams. In the first half of 2024, money lost to job scams hit $220 million. The FTC says they come in all different forms, like task scams, where they claim you could be paid to like videos or rate products, reshipping scams, and mystery shopper scams. The FTC says they usually come in generic and unexpected texts or WhatsApp messages. They also say look out for messages that ask you to pay money to get money, and don't trust anyone who says they will pay you to rate or like things online. The FBI suggests you look up the company phone number to make sure the request for the job is legitimate. So how can you stop these scams? You can register your phone on the National Do Not Call Registry. You can also report fraud attempts and file complaints to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. With your Verify, I'm Megan Brown.
We're getting a look at photos captured this week of a fire that burned hundreds of acres not far from Devil's Den State Park. The U.S. Forest Service, along with other agencies, started fighting that fire around 11:30 Sunday night. Raymond Self with the Ozark St. Francis National Forest told us on Thursday afternoon the fire was at about 50% containment. He adds this week's windy and dry conditions combined with the rough terrain has made fighting that fire difficult.
Wind definitely has been a factor that we've had to consider the last few days, but right now we're just managing it. We're waiting on better weather conditions so that we can go in there and actually manually burn out the unburnt fuel between the fire's edge and our holding lines.
The fire near Devil's Den is just one of more than 90 the Arkansas Forestry Division responded to on Wednesday.